Well, welcome back to another Wednesday Whiskey Talk from Boys Buffalo Happy Hour. Today, we got a little Coppersea, bro. Hudson Valley Coppersea Green Malt Whiskey. Where did we get this from?
The Hudson Valley, but also Addie's, which is a family-owned and operated liquor store located in Williamsville, New York, right on Transit Road. They have an in-house wine sommelier, which is a nice touch, very knowledgeable staff, and an app that you can download on the Apple App Store and the Google Playground Play Store. Free feel. All the dyslexia.
Feel free, bro.
Feel free to download the Addie's app on the Apple App Store and the Google Playground Play Store. Purchase something from the app, and they can ship it right to your door as long as you are within the great state of New York. Not any emphasis on the word great. So, this guy, Hudson Valley.
This guy's cool. So it's called Coppersea Distillery.
I love Hudson Valley whiskey.
We need to take a trip down to Hudson Valley. There's a lot of distilleries in the area.
I understand.
Don't act like you just had a kid. We need to take a trip down to Hudson Valley ASAP as possible, bro.
We're leaving tomorrow.
Yeah. So this particular distillery, Coppersea Distillery, is very ingrained into the heritage method of distilling. So before, like, you had column stills and all that stuff, they go back to pot stilling. They try to go hard with, let's have the Hudson Valley impart its flavor on our whiskey rather than us trying to change our whiskey to make it fit some sort of niche in the market. So they're also very intertwined with the word terroir, which if you're from the wine industry, you know that that's kind of like how the land and how everything impacts your product. And that's what they live by. So they grow a portion of their grain at their own farm, which is dope. And the other portion of the grain is grown within 20 miles of the distillery. So they want to really make sure that this is our whiskey, and you cannot actually physically possibly replicate this because it's grown here, it's distilled here, it's fermented in open wooden fermenters. So natural bacteria and all that stuff is getting in. They don't close the fermenters, which is crazy. So they're like, let's take Hudson Valley and literally put it in a bottle. So I hope that this is good because I'm super amped for this. So they still do floor malting too for their grain. So going back to Scotland roots, they lay their grain out, their malt on the floor, and they hand they do the entire malting process on the floor. So they have the shovels, they flip it open, they have the rakes. They don't like fakely ferment or malt their grain, which is sick. Instead that they have open air fermentation.
Dude, it smells like a petting zoo.
They use direct fire copper pot stills.
Let's go.
They don't do any electricity for that aspect. They enter it in the barrel at 105 proof, not the typical 125.
Yeah, that's low.
Because they're saying, we want to put this in the bottle at, what is this? 48% ABV, which is 96 proof.
Yeah.
We want to add the lowest amount of tasteless water into our product and put it in the barrel to where we feel like it would taste the best, and then add just a little bit of water to tweak it.
How long is it aged?
So it is aged at least 2 years. They didn't give an age statement.
It's got a nice color. I wonder what cooperage they use.
So yeah, I don't know. So they're in the Hudson Valley, so I would assume Adirondacks. It's literally right around the corner. But Angus MacDonald, this is what this is called. So this is Angus MacDonald, Big Angus. This is what this product is called. It's a homage to him. He was the founder, the founding master distiller at this distillery. So green malting itself was used as a traditional way in Scotland. Everybody knows that Scotland, they used to burn peat. They still burn peat. But back when it was illegal to distill in Scotland, they couldn't burn peat because then the tax people would understand that someone's making whiskey, bro. So what they would do is they just wouldn't do it. And they would just naturally have it reach that point in the malting process where they would then just throw it into the tanks from there. So they wouldn't actually malt it, which is pretty sick. So this one is a pricey product, though. This 375 milliliter is $75. So that's going to come into play at the end when we talk about would you buy it? Because I haven't tasted. I don't know who had this. Did we have this before?
No, this is from Addie's.
He gave it to us opened?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it was a sample bottle.
I don't remember having this. So I'm interested to have this and see if it would be worth 375 milliliters for $75.
You also do realize that there's like a few hours drive between the Hudson Valley and Adirondacks, right? Like it's not literally around the corner.
Well, yeah, but
That's why I went like,
yeah,
okay.
but it's the closest cooperage. It's closer than even
yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah. All right.
So label Brandon, what do you got?
Hi, dude. I mean, real cork. I like their label. It's expansive. I would go A.
I'd go A too. You got the heritage method. They really dive hard into the heritage. And then they have the story on here too. Big Angus honors Angus McDonald.
Yeah, Big
Coppersea's
Angus, baby.
Founder, master distiller. We use 100% green malt, unkiln sprouting, so they don't use a kiln to sprout the malted barley. Hudson Valley barley, fresh from our malt floor. We ferment in wood tanks and distill in direct fire. So basically everything that I just said, all my research. But yeah, I like the little seal that they have on there too. The green, little perforated thing to open it up. Yeah, I'll go A. I like A. Nose. Whoo.
Grain heavy. This smacks you in the face.
I don't know, dude.
It smells like a petting zoo. You ever walk to that section of the Erie County Fair?
Yeah.
We've all been there. You smell that feed. You smell that hay.
So if you want us to do more of an educational episode
Smell
on
them animals.
the malt, like the entire mash bill of whiskey, this is all malted barley. So there's no flavor and grain in it.
Which malted barley's literally, barley is basically our favorite grain ever.
Yeah, but it is very unflavorful because it's not wheat, it's not rye, it's not considered a flavoring grain. A lot of distilleries use like 5% because you want that enzyme interaction with the yeast to make the sugars, or you get what I'm saying. The yeast and the sugars make the alcohol. So you need that sugar from the enzymes,
You need the enzymes,
when they break
baby.
down.
Yeah.
So
Big E over there.
yeah, this is going to be, I feel like, very light tasting because the only impact from here is going to be from the wood.
Which is why I was curious
And
how
it's
long
young.
Yeah, that's why I was curious to know how long they aged it, because if you look at the color of it, it's dark, but at the same time it's, I don't know, it's young, like Derek's saying. So I'm curious to see what this does taste like. For the nose though, I'm gonna go B-.
Yeah, I'll go B- on the nose. This smells like an extremely young sweet whiskey. Like, to me, you're not getting any of the barrel notes from this. It's just kind of like this.
It's grain farm, baby.
Yeah, it's like this old hay barn.
Yeah.
That you walk into and you're just like, oh, there were animals here once.
Yeah, this is that seed to feed, you know? So.
Farm to table.
Initial taste. Butter. You taste that butter? Buttery.
Yeah. It tastes very kind of like corn stalkish. There's no corn in here, but it tastes like you're walking through a corn maze in the middle of October trying to find your pumpkin, and you accidentally get hit in the face with a stalk of corn, and you get like that fresh, really dried corn stalk, almost like hay note in your mouth.
We used to call them corn wars growing up. We used to throw frozen corn stalks at each other in winter. I don't know if you knew that. We did that. I agree. This is grain heavy. It's soft. It's surprisingly soft, and I think a lot of that is credit to the water that they use.
Are you kind of getting like a fresh cucumber? I'm very in tune to a cucumber note because I hate cucumber, but I actually really enjoy this kind of like fresh melon cucumber note.
No, I can pick that up after you say it. I was so hell-bent on the grain and the butter that I wasn't able to dive deep enough yet into that, but no, there's a touch of almost like a cucumber in it.
Yeah, like this really fresh, light
strange
fruit, maybe like a melon, just a regular melon.
Yeah, I did not expect to pick to see that come through. Well, taste it come through. So initial taste is actually very dynamic. I'm still like an A- check.
Yeah, I'll go A- check.
A- check. I agree.
The initial taste, honestly, it was kind of surprising for me.
Absolutely.
From the nose, I was expecting this to be very bland.
And it's not.
It's not. It's very flavorful.
Ending note. You know, for the proof point that this is that proof, baby, it's really mellow and it's so easy to drink and it's so soft. I just don't understand how the hell it's so soft. Again, it's got to be their water. Ending note for me, you're just kind of getting the remnants of the butter, you know, coming through from the grain.
Awesome.
I mean, that's kind of it.
Yeah. You're getting some afternotes of like this wet grass.
Sure.
I mean, not to flex on anybody or anything, but we were in Ireland, and when we were there, we walked through some of the barley fields, and that's kind of what I'm associating with this. It's not, there's no sea salt in here, so that's how when you drink this, you know that this isn't from Ireland.
Right.
Because there's not that like seaweed, sea salt type of note that it hits you and is like, this is for sure from the coastline. This you can tell is an American version of a single malt, basically.
With that old school teaching, you know?
With that old school teaching. I will say, though, the green method where they don't kiln dry anything and they just take it off the malt floor and throw it into the fermenters and get that yeast in there, yeast in there, you can taste it. You can totally taste that this, I think, for somebody just trying this out, they would think that this is an unimpressive young whiskey when you know how it actually was made. It kind of takes you by surprise, and now you more understand that it's not necessarily young. It is young, but all those notes are coming from the fact that they're doing things very, very old school.
You got to understand, you got to understand the business and the industry to really appreciate this. And I'm being specific on the business because of its price point. But when you understand the industry and the work behind the method, we're going to touch on it later, but warranted.
Yeah.
So, ending note for me, we touched on what we're actually tasting. I'm at like I'm at a C+ check.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was going to go solid B. So let's go B-.
I agree.
I agree. All right. Final rating.
Derek, give me that countdown. Now, this is ours, not what we think people's would be.
3, 2, 1.
86.
That final rating was a little bit hard for me because I was going to go, full transparency, I was going to go a little lower, but we just had a product that I would personally, if price aside, I would personally have this over the last product that we had.
Yeah, because you're a Scotch fanatic.
Right. So I couldn't give myself a lower rating than what I just did the last product. So I was kind of fumbling through things in my mind when we decided on that final rating. For me, this is a very interesting bottle for people who understand and appreciate whiskey.
100%. You got to know what's going on. You really do. You just got to understand and appreciate the distillation process, the farming, the man hours and women hours, whatever. Like all the things that go into making this amount of spirit to then get sold.
It's kind of got like a skunky note to it too.
No, it does. Yeah, but I'm all about it. Like that's again, it's that seed to feed. Like I'm literally in love with the fact that they went that hard in the process. Mm-hmm. Now, would you buy it at that price?
If it was me and I had the money, I still don't know if I would. I think the most I would, and the issue with that is that it's $75 for $3.75. If it was $75 for $7.50, then I would buy it. But it's very tough for us to tell everybody watching that maybe aren't as in tune to the industry as we are, that this is a worthwhile buy, because I don't know if they'll get the same thing out of it that we do. you know? So I don't know if I would recommend everybody buy it. Now, if you're watching and you are very in tune to the bourbon and the whiskey industry, you know how things are made, you understand and you appreciate the history behind distilling whiskey and how things are in other countries like Scotland and Ireland. If you're one of those people, then 100% I would recommend buying this, because this is a product I can almost guarantee you will never find that same taste in the US. I just don't think that you will.
No, you can't.
The closest thing that you'll have to this is a true small farm Irish distillery in Ireland. But if you're not into the culture like that and you're just getting into whiskey, this is 100% a waste of money for you, because you're not going to really understand and appreciate the tasting notes and the history behind it and what they're doing with floor malting. You're not going to understand that or appreciate it, and you're just going to think that the first taste is very underaged. It's very lackluster, and it kind of doesn't live up to the price point, which is understandable for people that aren't into the industry. But I think that if you are like us and this was $65, this $375, I would buy it all the time because I like it. But for $75, I don't know if even I can get myself to buy this. This is kind of just like, oh, we have it. Cool.
Specifically for Buffalo, it's going to be really hard to sell that milliliter at that price.
The good thing is, this green malt expression that they have, this one, it's extremely limited and it's already sold out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what their other products are. Coppersea, if you're listening to this, I don't even know where we can buy your other products. I think Addie's might have one of them, but I would be interested to see how your other non-green malted products taste in comparison to this, because this is very good, but I think that they're more going off of the fact that it's in a homage to Angus. It is a very limited run, and they're kind of capitalizing on the fact that this is a very one and done type of a thing.
It's kind of sad though that that's what it is, like a one and done type deal, because it's, man,
this is very good for us.
You just appreciate everything that goes into this, and it's.
But for you, what would you pay for this?
Same. I mean, 60, 65. Like, the extra $10, I don't know. That's where I struggle. There's a hiccup there.
The extra $10, you're then elevated into like a very nice Scotch or an Irish whiskey.
That's the thing. Like, if I'm at $75, I'd rather just get a Scotch.
Right.
You know, like dude, Belvini 14 Caribbean cask when it first came out was $45.
Right.
Now it's $106.
I wonder if they would ever repeat their stuff.
You know, like if I'm at $75, if I'm going into a liquor store and I have $75 in my pocket, there are so many different options at 750 milliliters. There's certain allocations. Eagle Rare's $60. You know, I mean, you're getting. At 75, you can get a lot of different things, a lot, and then or you just say screw it and spend $90 and buy Oban 14.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I don't know. Like that's my hiccup. Fantastic product though, really good job. I greatly appreciate, and I have a lot of gratitude for the fact that we're able to sit here and try this. Like, I greatly appreciate everything that went behind making this available and making it a product.
It's very difficult to be like. If you put yourself in their shoes, they've spent so much manual time on this product that it's tough to devalue your manual time. And that's probably why it's a one and done thing, because they know that they won't be able to sell over and over and over again $75 of this.
Yeah.
But to somebody out on the shelf, there's no way that they're going to buy this.
No. If someone doesn't know anything about whiskey and they see that on the shelf and it's smaller at that price point, they're going to be super confused.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to today's review of Coppersea Distillery's Big Angus. Big Angus. Love you, bud. This was very good. And if you do have the chance to try it, like if you go to somebody's house or you know somebody that has this, 100% recommend at least trying it, because it is a very interesting process. And now that you know the history behind it, you can maybe appreciate it a little bit more. So if you do see this and you want to appreciate the history and you think this would be a cool talking point for some of you and your friends because you have the money to spend on it, go for it. But if you are going to pick something up and then drink it after, we always recommend drink responsibly, be a good person, and Michael.
Do not forget our disclaimer in the bottom of each video, and do not litter.
We're out.